A jury has been seated in the Treehouse murder case going on in the Florida Keys. Opening statements will begin tomorrow. Franklin Tucker is the last of 3 men charged with a 2017 robbery and murder. Court TV's crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson has more. Matt?
Michael, good evening. We are gearing up for the Treehouse murder trial taking place in Florida, where defendant Franklin Ty Tucker will be representing himself. Tucker is accused of killing Matthew Bonnett in a deadly armed robbery at a local drug hangout called the Treehouse. This happened back in 2017. Prosecutors say that Tucker went to the Treehouse with Rory Wilson to rob a woman named Paula Belmont. As she was being held at knife point, the victim walked up the stairs and rushed over to help her. Her throat was slashed, she survived, but he was fatally stabbed 5 times.
2 people came barreling up the stairs. One jumped on me immediately, slit my neck, telling me that if I didn't give him the money, he was going to kill me.
Tucker and Wilson were charged with robbery and murder. Wilson was convicted in 2022 and serving a life sentence. A third man, Travis Johnson, the so-called getaway driver, took a plea deal and is serving probation. After his arrest, Tucker reconnected and married his high school flame, Lauren Janai, who is the co-founder of CrossFit. She says that he's innocent. We'll be watching to see if she'll be in the gallery in the courtroom. Michael?
All right, Matt, thank you so much for that report. Still with us to discuss, criminal defense attorney Jeffrey Wolf. Jeffrey, there's a lot going on in this case. A lot of grumbling. This guy, Tucker, claims that he's being framed in this one. According to the police report, the guys came in with these skull masks on, so maybe the identification, there's some issues. But this Travis Johnson guy did testify in the other trial. He plans to testify in this one. Not sure if he will. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I mean, he's the getaway driver, right? He fingers the 2 gunmen and the 2 robbers. And so, yeah, if you are wearing masks, you're hard to identify, but not if one of your co-conspirators decides to come forward and say you did it. And, you know, he's saying he's framed, but he's doing it in these really weird letters that he's sending to the court about how the court is involved in it, and he can't trust his lawyers, and he doesn't want to spend any more money on lawyers. He's just going to represent himself. He's not speaking in his right mind. It's not the same kind of conspiracy theory that people might say they're being framed by corrupt police officers like what's happening up in Massachusetts right now. This is a little bit more just kind of raving madman type stuff is what I'm reading.
It's interesting, Jeffrey, because you and I are of the same mind in terms of looking at prosecutors and what they do and what they can tell you about a case. They offered this guy a deal. His former attorney said that they offered him a deal. At the time, it would have just been time served. The woman that we saw there, who was the victim who was slashed, said that he had nothing to do with the killing itself. That may have something to do with it. But this guy didn't want to take that deal. And the attorneys found themselves in a position of saying, look, they could no longer in good conscience represent him at that point. What do you make of all that?
Well, basically what it sounds like is that he was offered a deal to testify against the person who actually did the stabbing itself. As you know, they can charge you with being responsible for something you don't stop, that you take a part in and furtherance of as a co-conspirator, even if you didn't shoot the gun or stab the person. So they can go forward regardless. But it sounds like because that wasn't who he was, they wanted him to admit he was part of it and help them convict the other person. And either whether he doesn't want to admit he did it, or if he didn't do it, or if he's just afraid of testifying against the other guy, he refused to take the deal. Doesn't seem to quite be in his right mind based on the letters he's writing, so it's hard to know what his motivations were in turning it down.
But again, when we look at what the prosecution's doing here, there was a murder here, and there was a very serious aggravated assault. They were wearing masks, so that's something that aggravates the whole thing. And at this point, he would have been in jail maybe 2 years, and they offered him only 2 years to testify. On a case like this, that doesn't surprise you, or think that maybe there were some problems with the case against him.
Well, people have a hard time with the idea of being responsible for someone else's conduct that's above and beyond what you planned. Jurors being those people. And so when you're telling somebody this person is responsible for this murder because he went along for a robbery that wasn't supposed to end that way, and there was a bit of a scuffle and people were there that weren't supposed to be there, and it escalated the situation beyond what was planned, juries can have a problem with that. So they may think they're going to have trouble convicting him when their own victims are going to say he didn't do the actual stabbing. But in reality, what they probably wanted to do was make the case as strong as they possibly could against the main culprit. That is something prosecutors do often. They don't often just go after everyone. They want to get the person most responsible for sure. And so if they had his two co-conspirators, the getaway driver and this guy Tucker, testifying against Wilson, who was the person that they previously convicted, it would have made their case even stronger. So it doesn't surprise me that they offer 2 years in that circumstance, because jurors don't always buy co-conspirator prosecutions.
All right, fair enough. And then there's also the wild card of this. You know, he ends up marrying, after this all went down, he ends up marrying the co-founder of CrossFit. I was shocked to see that. Obviously, she's doing very well. And at the end of the day, they do marry, but they are estranged, so we don't know if she'll show up. That possibly could help.